Well, we're not done with the story around the bail conditions granted to the lawyer Dele Farotimi in a defamation case trial. And we have Francis Nwapa, who is the National Secretary Youth Rights Campaign. Finally, has been able to join us to get more legal perspective to this. Thank you so much, Mr. Nwapa, for joining us. Can you please unmute your device?
Yep, my device is unmuted.
All right, we can hear you now. So how do you interpret the charges first against Dele Farotimi, particularly the accusation of defamation?
Sorry, I can't hear you. Maybe a technical issue from your end. I didn't hear your question.
Okay, so let me just go over it again. I said, what is your own interpretation to the charges leveled against Dele Farotimi? That is the accusation of defamation against Afe Babalola.
I didn't get the first point, but from the one I got, I think, firstly, the issue of the defamation is well expressed in law as to if you feel that you are defamed by someone, the process is for you to go to court and seek a redress. But the situation where a lawyer, a senior lawyer like Afe Babalola, had to, go to the police in itself is like losing trust or faith, in his own jurisdiction, which is the court, because he ought to seek redress in the court and not using the police, to abduct his fellow lawyer. And so I think that the charges brought against him in the first instance have no roots, in the laws of Ekiti State, as you are aware, that the case of defamation was expunged, from the laws of Ekiti State. And in the first instance, Dele Farotimi shouldn't be standing trial, in Ekiti State.
Okay, so do you think the 30 million naira bill and the conditions imposed on Farotimi, including the submission of his passport, him having to refrain from media interviews, do you consider all that a form of restriction on his rights?
It is. The condition is stringent, just like, and I see this as part of a broader attempt to continue to clamp down on civil space, continue to witch hunt whistleblowers, continue to shrink, democratic space in Nigeria. The ruling, asking him not to, grant interview, is draconian. The law is explicit, where the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, grants us, the right to freedom of speech, the right to communicate and all of that. And a judge, sits down and takes away that, that right from you. And I think this need to, the Nigeria Bar Association really need to stand up to, all of these things, where, the rights of citizens are being taken away from them just because, certain powers that be do not just want you to speak. And don't forget that this is the same stringent condition that was given to Michael Lenin and other protesters who were, at the time, why they came out on bail, could not even grant media interviews, just to straighten up their own position. And also, a situation where suits have been filed against Dele Farotimi, in virtually more than 3 to 4 states. So how do you engage? How do you fight a man with his hand tied to his back and you begin to throw punches? He needs to defend himself. He needs to speak out. And all of these things, all of these things are still part of, like I said, a broader, plans to continue to stifle democratic space in Nigeria. And I mean, the bail bond for 30 million, I mean, is outrageous. It's stringent. I mean, and I mean, also having his a passport, international passport at the Federal High Court, and at the same time, the Magistrate Court is requesting for the same, passport. So I think that this, I mean, this is not a bail, but it's just like giving a bail in one hand and using the other hand to, I mean, to continue to keep the person in custody.
Okay, so finally, before I let you go, I'd like to get your perspective on the speculations around the constitutional provision in cases of defamation. Some people have said that it has been expunged from subnational constitution and all that. In fact, that it was transferred from Lagos to Ekiti. If that also was like some sort of way to get justice where it is not deserved, I'd like to get your perspective to that.
Well, when you even talk of justice, the truth is, was justice from the beginning to to where we are right now? Has there been any sign of justice where a man who has been, accused to have defamed someone, the first thing to do is for the police to come all the way from Ekiti. You had where the Commissioner of Police here and also the Zone 2 police head here said they are not aware of that operation. They came and abducted a lawyer. And not only that, they confiscated the phones and assaulted staffs of that particular chamber and whisked the person. In a 7 hours journey, the roads to Ekiti are very bad, very terrible. And you drove the person down to Ekiti State. And the next day, without the presence of his lawyer, against the criminal, the Criminal Justice Act, brought without the presence of his lawyer, without notifying his lawyer, you charge the person to court the next day, and immediately a magistrate court that could have ordinarily accepted an oral application for bail, remanded him in prison custody, and instead of giving a ruling, extended by 10 days again. While that was going on, the police filed another suit, at the Federal High Court, and then when you look at all of these things, you see that there is, justice is far from all of this, and there are powers that be that are coordinating and controlling, all of this.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Francis Nwapa, for sharing your thoughts with us on this particular situation. Let me quickly talk to Bettina before I let her go finally on this. I'd like to get your updates as regards what the ambience is at the court's premises and in the state regarding this. We know that before now there had been people who had actually supported the litigant against the defendant and those who were saying that this case should not even go to court in the first place. I'd like to get your reaction as regards how people are reading from this.
Two different views to this particular court proceedings, and at court today this morning we had people, both indigents and people that came from as far as Abuja and Lagos, just to make sure they are part of the proceedings that happened today. People are of mixed emotions. Some people are in support, some are against, but business as usual in the state. Nothing far from the usual is going on in the state, and I would say that majority of those who traveled into the state for this particular case hearing have already returned. Some of them from Lagos already let us know that they were on their way back to Lagos. The same thing for those who are also going to Abuja. So it was a very brief in and out situation for most of the people that came in to witness the court proceedings.